falls, he rises with courage in his heart. A beacon of hope, he's ready to start. With faith as his armor and a fire in his soul, Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, you'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red. Alpha Red.
What's going on? Welcome to the Alpha Red comic channel. I am Alpha Red. Who is Alpha Red? Alpha Red, I was your friendly neighborhood handyman, chosen to be a part of an experiment. And they put a chip in my head that made me super strong, super fast, and super smart. And I took down Omega Black, a giant transforming robot. And you can follow those adventures right here in my comic book, Alpha Red. I'm just kidding. It's just me. It's James. It's just James. Don't worry. I didn't go anywhere. So I'm just goofing around. I will tell you how to get one of those awesome masks, covers, face covers for Alpha Red. If you go to into the comments and you go to where it says email, get on my Patreon and sign up to be a free Patreon person, subscriber. You can download those for free today. Actually, it's free for any subscriber. Join for free. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to say welcome. Welcome to the Alpha Red Comic Channel. I am James Nguyen, creator of Alpha Red, and I am happy that you are joining me here this evening, 8 p.m. Sunday, every week. And we're going to do some drawing. And we're going to be talking about, tonight we're going to be talking about rated R comic adjacent media and rated R comics. So we're going to jump into that. But before we do, I'd like to shout out a few people who have reached out and said some kind things on social media, and I want to give them a shout out. Mr. Ken Bowden on Twitter says Alpha Red is one of my favorite comics of 2024. You can follow him. He is at Artsy Ken B on Twitter. So very kind words from Mr. Ken Bowden. And also Rod responds to Ken's tweet by saying, "Sage, in the sage words of Ken Bowden, this book slaps. This book slaps." I'm just gonna take that. I'm gonna take that as a good thing. My kids make fun of me all the time because I'm old. I'm 49. I'm not young. I'm no spring chicken. Don't let the spikiness fool you. I don't know the lingo. So this book slaps is I'm just gonna smile and assume that you liked Alpha Red #1. So I appreciate your support there, Rod. Just a shout out to Pete Cimetti at Comic Book Radio, a friend of the channel for sure. Invited me onto his art auction last week, where I met Rod and Brian and Randy and Mickey. You guys are so generous, and I just want to thank you for supporting Alpha Red. Alpha Red #6 is on the drawing table, and I'll show you a little bit of that in a second here. But I just wanted to shout out Comic Book Radio over here on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to Comic Book Radio and you are an independent creator, you need to do that. Pete has a lot of cool guests on there that really help give you a better idea of what it takes to create an indie comic. He's been publishing for years. Peter Cimetti does alternative comics. I pick up alternative comics all the time. Very entertaining stuff. He does a great job. He does newsprint. It's not my bag, but I do like it. It fits the comics that are printed on it, and so go check out Comic Book Radio. But shout out to Rod, Brian, Randy, and Mickey for your support last week. I hope you got everything in safely. Randy did reach out to me, and what he got, the comic was bent in the corner. I hope I can make that up to you next time, Randy. I don't know. I'm trying some new things with the shipping. 95% of my shipments get there without injury, but sometimes they get banged up. USPS is not always the best. Doesn't hit it every time, but that's all we got. That's all we have to work with. So I'm going to switch over to this board over here. Follow me over here. See if this works. So this is the mask that I was just wearing, and this is what it looks like. This is how I had it on my face. This was all kinds of, this is rigged up in the back here. What I did was I took some 3D glasses, and I did everything I could to get it on here. There's like red film on here that I bought separately from the 3D glasses, and then I taped them on first because the 3D glasses kind of you were able to see it through there. But so I put the film on and then put the glasses on. It works out. It's fun. Like I said, you head over to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/AlphaRedComic, and you can download one of these things when you sign up for free to be a Patreon subscriber. But that's free for anybody who is signed up. All right. So I wanted to share with you guys what I picked up from the comic book shop. I want you to see that I support my local comic book shop. These are some cool guys down at Funky Town Comics and Vinyls in Camillus, New York. And so if you're in the area and you're looking for a cool comic book store, shout out to them, Jeff and Jesse and Chris over there. This is something that I picked up. I am hearing lots of good things about this. So this is the third printing of Rick Exodus, and man, this has like a bazillion pages in it. There's lots of pages, and it was only $4. So definitely worth it just to check out. And they're up to actually number 3, and I bought number 3. I didn't realize how popular it was going to be, and so it was. I'm glad that they reprinted it, and I'm glad that my comic book store picked up the reprints. And here's the other thing I picked up this week: Scarlet number 2. I wasn't crazy about Scarlet number 1, just because I didn't realize that Scarlet was a ninja, like a really good ninja, like beating up other ninjas. So kind of turned me off, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Because I did pick up Scarlet number 1 last month, and I'm enjoying drawing this sketch cover. It's, I haven't done it for a draw stream, but I chip away at it when I'm on the phone having meetings or whatever. I just pull it out. It's next to me, and then I just throw down a couple lines here and there. But that's kind of what I do. But I spent this week not working on Alpha Red number 6. I just wanted to finish a commitment to my letterer for Alpha Red, Josh Shelton. He has a book called The Legend of Novikov, and this is one of the, I think this guy's a villain. I think these guys in the corner here are supposed to be good guys, and then Saturnus is supposed to be an assassin of some kind. I apologize, Josh. I do have the books. I bought the books. I just didn't get around to reading the second one. So I think that's what it is. And so I just want to also show you last week's Batman is I did them up. I did up the colors. The Swole Batman is all colored up and ready for purchase. If you want to buy this, you can head over to my Etsy store. Etsy, I don't know, James Q Artist on Etsy. So just if you search James Q Artist on Etsy, you'll be able to pick this up. Free shipping in the U.S., $10 in Canada. And the obligatory update of all the pages, right? I just show you all the pages every week. That was page 1. Here is page 2. Page 3, a favorite of everyone I show. So I am glad because it is also one of my favorites. Page 4. Man, I'm excited for you guys to see this. Page 5, maybe not. Like page 8, you'll see. Could be page 5. I'm considering it for the sake of my writer Ray, who wants page 8 to be page 5, and this would be page 6. This would turn into page 7, but this is them getting some gadgets that move the story forward towards the end there. And then this page 8 could possibly be page 5. We'll see. That's a good argument for Mr. Ray McKay. And this was the rest of it. This is page 9 pencils that I drew last night. I had about 3.5, 4 hours. And I was able to throw down some tight pencils on half of page 9. So that's the preview. I hope that gets you all psyched up and excited. All right. So the man of the hour. All right, I'm gonna move some of this stuff around to get this board closer to me. As you do. It's off to the side. And then I gotta mess with the wires. So guys, I just want to thank all the new people who subscribed this week. I assume you found me through Comic Book Radio. Another reason to thank Peter Cimenti for having me on the art auction. Just very kind to share his audience with independent creators. I don't know what the snag is, guys. Let's move you over here. Bada bing, bada boom. Mr. Wolverine comes back. All right, we are ready, set, go. Let's see if you guys can hear me better, I did get a new microphone. So, because of a successful appearance on Comic Book Radio with Mr. Peter Simeti, I was able to earn enough to buy a new microphone. Because if you watched, I think both nights I had audio problems. Second night I couldn't hear myself. I could hear the music that was being played, but I could not speak. They could not hear me. Maybe they could hear me, but I couldn't hear them. I knew they were it sounded like they were laughing at me. I'll be honest with you. And so I jumped off. And I did not go back to see whether or not my hunch was right that they were laughing at me. But yeah, I got myself a brand new mic, and it was not cheap because I am investing in this YouTube channel to stay connected with people who might be interested in independent comics and my journey to creating Alpha Red and trying to introduce Alpha Red to more and more people. And it's been really eye-opening, really fun. Alpha Red has been very well received, and I appreciate it so much that people are generous with their words, generous with with the money, spending money on an unproven comic. They're really believing in me and the story, the pitch that I give them. And the pitch goes like this. This is how I reel them in as they walk up to my table at a comic convention. I hand them a trading card, which, here it is. Hang on. I hand them one of these trading cards for free, and at the cost of 11 cents a piece, right? So I hand them one of these, and I say, "Can I give you one of these?" They say, "Sure." And if they stop long enough, I say, "Can I give you the pitch?" And usually they're kind enough to just let me practice the pitch on them. And the pitch goes like this: Alpha Red is Peter Parker as Captain America on a James Bond adventure. And, that usually piques their interest because Wes, the secret identity of Alpha Red, his name is Calvin Wesley. He is your friendly neighborhood handyman. And he gets chosen to be a part of an experiment like Mr. Captain America. He gets a chip implanted into his brain that makes him super strong, super fast, and super smart. Kind of like Mr. Steve Rogers. But he's still just like Peter Parker. So he's like Peter Parker with Captain America powers. And that's why I say that he's Peter Parker as Captain America. And then he's on a James Bond adventure. And just like James Bond, he gets these cool gadgets. He gets a super suit. He gets a super car. James Bond often gets awesome vehicles that he uses with gadgets on the vehicles. And the gadget transforms into a robot. So he gets a transforming robot car. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, and if you've never read Alpha Red, you can order Alpha Red by going to alpharedcomic.com. And that'll take you to the Starcross Comics website. And all 5 issues of the origin story are available. So get caught up. Get caught up. No excuses. So this was, if you've watched me before on these draw streams, the composition of these things happens before I get on camera, because it takes about 10 or 15 minutes for me to, typically 10 or 15 minutes for me to come up with a pose that I am happy with. that I think is compelling enough to finish. So instead of boring you to death with that, I do that off camera, and it was really hard for me to stop on this one. I'll be honest with you. I really wanted to finish it because I started it sometime during the week, Monday, Tuesday, while I was finishing up that Batman. And if you didn't catch it yet, where is it at? Where it is? There it is. So the Batman from last week that I drew is available on Etsy. So I colored it up this week, and so hopefully somebody picks that up. I had a lot of fun drawing it. So, and if you did not watch last week's, you can go back and check out me drawing that. So I appreciate you guys being here, spending some time with me. So I promised you that we would talk about rated R comic book movies. So Deadpool and Wolverine is set to come out at the end of the month in about 2 weeks. So, and it is a rated R movie. And there are some F-bombs that fly in the trailer. And some people are very, very, very excited for a rated R Deadpool Wolverine movie. And I gotta tell you, I am not one of them. When Deadpool, Wolverine was always one of the most popular. Ever since he came out, Wolverine has always been popular. So you don't need him to be rated R to be to make money, or to be compelling, I should say, because he's Wolverine, and it's because he has a bit of an attitude. I get it, but you can do it fine. Hugh Jackman's been doing fine without all the swearing. I didn't care for all the swearing in Logan. I thought Logan was a fantastic movie. Fantastic. But the first 45 minutes, there were so many F-bombs. I was prepared to turn it off. But because of its good word of mouth, I stuck around, and thankfully the F-bomb stopped. And I was able to enjoy the rest of the movie. But I didn't think it needed it. I don't understand, for the longevity of comic fandom, why we would add more adult themes to our superhero comics. Maybe there's a place for it, but there should be a place that kids can safely find comic books that are family friendly, because comic books are going to spark the imagination no matter what the content is. Manga is one of the biggest growing parts of comic books right now. And so its storytelling at its best is in comic form, in my humble opinion. I am super committed to that opinion, just because it is a great mix of words and images. It's not just moving pictures. Now, movies are very compelling. It's hard to compete with movies. They get you trapped in the motion of it, and the emotion, and the mood of the filters and the music, and that whole experience is hard to top. But it doesn't spark the imagination. Like, it tells you everything it wants you to think. And so that makes it not as interesting, in my humble opinion. What do you think so far? Is it good enough to go to inks? Good enough to go to inks? So I think that, let me grab a number 3. Number 3, Pigma Micron is my inking preference pretty much for now. It comes and goes. I get frustrated with it. It doesn't seem to last as long, but whatever. It gives me a quality line consistently enough that I go with the Micron. But back to rated R comic book movies and just the what does it do to the I don't want to say the industry, but the consciousness of people. Like, so moms, parents in general should be concerned about what their kids are consuming. And this should not be consumed. Rated R comic book movies should not be consumed by kids. But there are too many parents that allow their kids to watch some of this stuff, and it's no good. It's no good for them. They're not ready for the violence. They're not ready for all the cursing. I mean, I don't curse. I don't never curse, but it's not something that I normally do. And you might, when you show it to your kid is going to assume that that's how all adults talk. And maybe a lot of adults talk that way, and maybe those parents talk that way, but they shouldn't. Not around their kids. They shouldn't talk that way anyway, but we live in a fallen world, so I am not under any illusion that people are just going to do the right thing automatically. But when they make it so easy for kids to be exposed to things that should be reserved for adults, it's bad for the kids, and then in turn becomes bad for society, because those kids grow up and they become kids that cuss all the time and are disrespectful or violent, or think that that stuff is okay. It's not okay to me and my family, and I wish that it wasn't normal. I wish it wasn't the norm. So I don't know if you guys can hear the music. There should be some. No, it doesn't look like. Is there music? Ba-bump. I see a little bit of music bumping. Ba-bump, bump, bump. So if you're out there, looks like there's a couple of people watching. Say hi. Say hi. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me drawing this guy all alone. Am I off in what I'm saying about the rated R content in comic books? The most popular excuse that I hear is that it's not made for you. Well, who's it made for? There was I forget, a Batman or something that looked really cool. Cartoon. And I was watching it. I was like, and they started cursing. And I go, how am I going to show this to my kids? How are you, as a company, trying to market this kid stuff to future customers, your future customers? And the clap back at me was, it's not for you. Well, it's not for my kids. If it's not for me, if it's not for my kids, Like, who is it for? And do you want to make money? Or what is the goal? I thought the goal was always to make money. But I think we have so much money that people are okay creating or changing the culture and making it more mature and adding violence and sexuality into things that used to be considered taboo. You don't put sex and violence in the comic books. You're supposed to be able to trust these comic books. I was just talking to a comic creator, a comic pro, worked for Marvel and DC, and he was lamenting. I was sitting near him in Hershey, and he was telling me that he's sad that he can't just let his kids go into the comic book store and pick whatever they want off the shelf, because not everything, most things, well, I don't know, I forget how he phrased it, but he said that he can't just let his kids pick up anything anymore, and that's sad. And really, that is why the comic book industry is dying, because these comics are no longer created for kids. So the market is dying. The market is shrinking. Whereas you're filling in old dying customers. Not that we're all dying, but like, we're getting older. There's not as many of us. But you would always have more customers coming in the backside with young readers discovering comics for the first time. And they're not discovering them anymore because their moms and dads won't let them, because it's not made for them. They're not made for young kids anymore. And that's sad. That's sad. I have a stack of books here that I have to read before I hand it off to my 16-year-old. And he, as much as he pretends like he is not a comic book fan, he will scarf up any comic book that I put in front of him, even bad ones. I'll read it and I'm like, I'm not going to tell him if it's good or bad. I want him to form his own opinions. And he'll read it in 5-10 minutes, put it down. He goes, "Is that it? You got it? Do you have any more?" Every now and again, he'll come up to me and say, "Do you have any new comics that I can read?" And I have new comics, but I haven't read them yet, so I don't know if they're appropriate for him. And that's sad. I want to share my joy and my passion of comic books with my son, but it's not automatic. I can't just pick up the latest issue of Spider-Man, Batman, and trust that it's appropriate for him, because it might have too much violence, it might have too much all kinds of craziness. Stuff that we don't believe in. We're a Christian family, so it's hard. It's hard to find stuff that does not go against things that we believe. So, that's one of the biggest purposes for Alpha Red, is to make family-friendly entertainment so that the love for comics can continue. Even if you're not a Christian, it's not overtly Christian. I don't think. It doesn't knock you over the head. I happen to think Alpha Red is just a good story in general, a hero's journey. He has to overcome a lot of things in order to become the hero that the world needs to save the day. But but yeah, it can be handed to any kid, no matter how old. There is nothing inappropriate in it. I mean, there's some action, and some of the action can be, maybe depending on how sensitive you are, could be considered violent, but I don't think so. It was not my purpose. I don't want to glorify the violence in the book. It just should be fun. There should be some action and interesting, and have a lot of cool pictures that inspire kids to want to read more comics, read more, period, and then comics in general too. So, how we doing? So how's my mic? I know my wife says don't talk about the technical stuff. Nobody wants to hear it. But it just rubs me the wrong way when I go and listen and realize that you guys have been listening to a really, really bad sound quality. So that is why I picked up this new mic. Check it out. Ooh. If you are familiar with microphones and things, you will know that that is not a cheap brand. And they're known for their quality. It's a Rode Podcaster mic. My wife is a podcaster. She podcasts about homeschooling. And she has that Blue Yeti mic that seems to be okay for the most part, but it does not like to be with StreamYard for whatever reason. Every time I get onto somebody else's podcast that has, or live stream that uses StreamYard, it goes on the fritz. It doesn't last very long, sounding okay. And it'd be one thing if it was like right away that the sound was bad, but yeah, it's not right away. It's like an hour into it, and then something happens. It's crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Hey, what's going on, Rod? Well, I appreciate you jumping in. Thank you so much. Thanks for your support. I gave you a shout out at the beginning. If you weren't here, you can go back and give a shout out. I gave you a shout out. And if you're watching with your son, I say hello to young Mr. Pruitt. And I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys watched the previous draw stream. So, Rod, what do you think about rated R comic book movies? I don't know if you're going to stick around or not. But is that good for the comic book industry? Is it bad? I'm sure that Deadpool Wolverine is going to make $1 bazillion. But is that necessarily good for the comic book industry? My argument is that it is a net negative, because in the consciousness of society, comics have become bad for kids. And so moms won't let kids buy comics off the racks. And that is bad because they won't discover comics for years and years. And so you're missing out on those fans. And those fans might never come. Let me see. I tap out on the rated R movies overall. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I mean, sometimes I hear good things about some things. And then, the FOMO gets to me. I gotta watch it. And then I watch it and I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this. It's just too much. Not everybody talks like that. I don't need to see everything, all the things. I watched the first Mission Impossible with my boys the other day. And I think it's just rated PG. man, it had plenty of action. It had whatever. It had a little bit of romance, but they didn't get into the nitty gritty. They didn't, there wasn't half naked something all over the place. So you don't need it. And it doesn't feel like money is obviously a motivation for these studios, but it seems like they just want to get the smut out there. All the bad stuff. The cussing and the sexual immorality is just like over the top. Can we get a clean movie? Yeah, so it's a net negative in my opinion, just because it's in the minds of moms. I got a phone call from my buddy Jose yesterday, and we were talking about creating, creating comics, and what is the goal? What is your purpose? And so I was telling him that you have to think about who your customer is. And my customer is a mom. I want mom to pick this up for her kids. I want her to feel safe to pick this up for her kids. That's why I don't mind going to... I just signed up for a homeschool convention in March. Next March in Dayton, Ohio. And I'm super excited. I had such a good time at the homeschool convention in Tennessee. And it was really an eye-opener for me how happy moms were to be able to give their comic book kids something to read. And I've heard such great things back from them. And it couldn't be more encouraging for me to continue doing what I'm doing. You can make a good movie without the gratuitous stuff. Shows the lack of creativity. That's right, for sure. They know if they can just put in that half-naked lady or all-naked lady and have a couple of minutes of that on screen, that it's easy money and it gets people through the doors. But man, what does it do to society? Honestly. What does it do? So I read a quote, Rod, from you, from Twitter, and you said, you just read Alpha Red, #1, and you said, this comic slaps. And I'm 49, so I don't know all the lingo. So I'm going to assume this comic slaps is like is a good thing. But I appreciate it. I appreciate your support and picking up that swole Cyclops, swole Clops. So this is Swolverine. I just made that up. Swolverine. Did that work? That was on the fly. Swolverine. Is he swole? Is he swole enough to be noticeably swole? Swolverine. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Especially independent comics. Independent comics, it goes for the lowest common denominator. All right, like the horror stuff, the really gory stuff. Those guys, people who are fans of that, are very motivated to buy. So you get like people who collect all of that, whether it's good or not. So how can you tell if your story is actually unique and good in itself, or if you're just giving somebody content who would just buy anything with half-naked women getting murdered by some kind of crazy slasher person? Like, really? Come on, guys. And of course it's going to sell, because those guys can't get enough of that bad stuff. So no, I'm definitely on a different track, and I'm happy with the track that I'm on. And I think people welcome Alpha Red and what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to create a family-friendly comic that you can hand to anybody. that's still interesting. And that's pretty much it. And I'm hoping that I can make more and more comics and have it come out more often. I mean, I'm hoping next year I'll make 3 or 4 a year if I can keep up the pace, which having this YouTube channel and the Patreon really keeps me accountable, I think. Ken plays the bass. I believe it's a bass player term. I gotcha. It is. I see when guys playing bass, he slaps. They slap that thing. The good ones, anyway. Some of them pluck. Some of them do the plucking. But the stylish ones, I think they slap the bass. But yeah, I have so I'm working on issue number 6 of Alpha Red, and that should be done in September. But I can roll right into issue number 7. That's already written. And so while I'm working on the crowdfunding of issue number 6, I will be able to show you pages of issue number 7. It'll just keep moving, like there's no stopping. And then I have a 3-issue arc after that I can jump into, that I'm already working out in my head after issue number 7. So that's 8, 9, 10. So maybe 8, 9, 10 come out. 7 for sure will come out next year. And then maybe 8, 9, and 10. Is that too ambitious to get 4 comics out next year? It takes a lot of work, but I feel like I'm getting into a groove. And if I can make enough, maybe I can hire an inker. Hiring an inker would speed things up, and maybe another penciler. I don't know, because I have stories. Alpha Red's got a lot of bad guys to fight. Is he too hairy? Did I make him too hairy? I just remember Jim Lee and Scott Williams. I don't know if they ruined me or they inspired me. Like, nobody draws Wolverine hair like Jim Lee and Scott Williams. It looked almost too neat for Wolverine, but Swolverine. No, you didn't comment on the Swolverine. I don't know. Was it too cheesy? Too cheesy? Yeah. So I'm excited about the direction of Alpha Red and just introducing Alpha Red to more and more people. And I stopped by my local comic shop yesterday to pick up the latest comics. And if you missed it in the beginning, I show you what I got this week. But in the area that I live, there are a lot of cool comic book artists and creators. And in March, they sponsored an exclusive cover for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 148 with a local comic artist. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And it was a national cover that anybody could pick up. And I was like, wow. I was kind of jealous. I gotta confess my covetousness. I was like, man, how do I get one of those? How do I get the opportunity to do that? Well, the local comic shop wants to talk to me about possibly sponsoring me to do something for someone. So, super excited to get my artwork out there. And it's all to bring attention back to Alpha Red. That's my secret. It's all for Alpha Red. And if you... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you. Here, I'm older than you, and Ken is good people. It's a good thing. Nah, Wolverine works. All right, all right. No, it's definitely not my normal style, but I could definitely get into adding some swole into Alpha Red and everybody else. It's just something that is missing. Actually, Rod, did you see the previews for the new Absolute Batman? Like, I don't know what it is about it, but I am super excited. He looks super swole, and his cape looked like a bat wings. I was like, whoa, definitely a different looking take on the suit, but man, it's got some appeal. I'm probably going to pick it up. I hope it's not too violent, not too whatever. Not Zack Snyder. Scott Snyder is writing that, and I hope that he can tone it down. I didn't pick up the Batman Metal stuff, even though it was like highly acclaimed from all the people that I liked on Court of Owls, Batman Court of Owls, but it just looked too violent and demonic, and I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm excited about the cover thing. They're good guys. My local comic shop. They're bringing some energy back to local comics. Yeah, to comic books in general. I love supporting them. Just because they bring the energy. They bring the comic book energy. They talk about comics like they love comics. I go there and we talk about G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff, because I'm not picking up anything else. I did talk about it earlier, but I was excited about this Rook Exodus. So the things that I'm picking up are, in general, indie comics. And I'm going to give the Scarlet #2 a try, even though I didn't care too much for issue #1. I really like the Energon universe that Skybound is doing. So I'm just going to continue to give them a shot. All right. What time is it? We got 10 more minutes. Okay. Not quite 10 minutes, but we're going to call this mostly done. So I'm going to give it... I hope I don't ruin it. Sometimes I noodle with this stuff a little too long. And I start ruining it, and I don't want to say anything. I'm like, oh, I should have done that. But this is definitely more of a finished piece than I typically do. But I'm really enjoying it, and I think my drawing is getting faster. The more you do something, the easier it becomes, and so I'm able to get these drawings done a little bit faster, which really helps. Like I said, I don't know if you were around, but this was page 9 of Alpha Red #6, and I did all of this in about 3 hours. So, and these are just tight pencils, but I'm super excited. Things are starting to break free. I'm starting to get invited to comic book shows as a featured artist. So things are, I don't know, people are taking notice of Alpha Red, and people are finding the channel here, and it's been a really cool ride here since March, when I really kind of decided to go all in with this channel. Looks good. All the Ghost Machine stuff is good. Yeah, that's what I hear. So I picked up Ghost Machine #1, the preview thing, and I read it and I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And then nobody was talking about it, so I was like maybe it's just, well, I thought it was just going to be expensive. But you get a lot of pages for that $4. You get especially Rook Exodus #1. Looks like it has it feels like a double-sized issue. But yeah, I saw for that Batman, that Absolute Batman, somebody was doing a review, and they had like a lot of pages from that ash can, and they were going through them, and I was like, man, that Batman moves pretty slick. But yeah, it was looks super violent. So I'll have to proceed with caution, because I do want to share it with my kids. I want to share it with my son anyway, my 16-year-old, the only one left who seems to have an interest in comics. And we talk about comics, and it's really cool. It's something that I want to share with him. But if they're making it so violent that I can't share it. And John Universe is really good. I tapped out of Scarlet and Destro, though. They didn't grab me. You're not missing much, bro. Honestly. The Destro, I still haven't finished it. It's not that the art, I don't know, there's something boring about it. I read it halfway, got to the twins, Tomax and Zaymot make an appearance. You know, they're introducing them. And I flipped the page, I saw them, I was like, I'll read it, I'll finish it later. I mean, it should not be like that. It was just kind of boring. I mean, I liked Destro when he appeared in the Duke miniseries. The Duke miniseries was just, I don't know, it was so awesome. It was so good. I can't say anything bad about it. Even though the art was probably not initially my taste, but man, it was good. Bro, if you can leave it out for my boys to pick it up, I don't get it. That's right. That's a great rule. That's a great rule. And that is so I picked up Cobra Commander, right? And I was on the fence. He only accidentally read it, because I had read it and I was like, man, this is kind of violent. And he asked me, my son asked me, do you have any comics I can read? And I said, yeah, the one on the top. And I had a bunch of comics on the steps ready to go up to my office. And I meant the top of the pile that I keep in my room. But he grabbed the top, he grabbed the pile that was on the steps, and he read the one on top, which was one of the Cobra Commander comics. And man, it was one of the more violent ones. But that was by accident. And yeah, I want to share the Energon stuff with him, with my son. And I probably could. He's a pretty mature kid. But, he's 16. We don't give him access to the internet. You know, not unfettered access, anyway. And he doesn't have any, he doesn't have a cell phone. I mean, he has a phone, but it's, like, barely. He can text. Can't take pictures, can't do group text, all kinds of restrictions. But, well, it has come to the end of the hour. And, Rod, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Okay, yeah. No, I think I'm prepared to walk through it with him. You know, like, I'm not going to hold his hand forever. And he has a part-time job, and he's exposed to all kinds of stuff that I can't walk through with him. But yeah, so we'll probably talk about some of the violent stuff. And he just came back from a camp that kind of prepared him consume some of the things in the world, or be prepared for being exposed to some of the things that that the normies watch. And just it was good. It was good. He watches everything with a critical eye now. So, but it was awesome that you hung out with me. Just a couple of plugs for anybody who's in the Central New York area. I will be at the Solvay Library on the 22nd. That's a Monday at 6. I think it's a 2-hour thing, 6 to 8. But that's the Monday, 6 to 8, Solvay Library. And then on that Saturday, which is the 27th, I will be at my local comic book store, Funky Town Comics and Vinyls. And I will be doing a signing for Alpha Red. So I'm excited about that. And the next convention I'll be at is in August 10th at the Lehigh Valley Con. I will be a featured artist there. Super excited about that. Brother Rod, I appreciate it. I call to it floating the bag, like when you bring a new goldfish home. What's in my room? Cool cover. Thank you. What's in my room? Thank you for. I apologize. I didn't see. I didn't see you pop in here. These covers are will be for sale on Etsy. What's going on, love? Thanks for popping in, man. So this cover will be available on Etsy. Just go to Etsy and look up James Q Artist. That's my shop on Etsy. You'll see last week's Batman is up there for sale that I colored. Here, I'll pop it down here. That's colored, and then I'll do the same thing for the Wolverine. I'm gonna put this up soon. Gonna give it the same treatment. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I want to keep it to an hour to honor my wife and honor your time. If you guys are going to other shows, I don't know if Pete's having something on Comic Book Radio, but he's always a good time over there. So thank you guys for hanging out. I'm gonna hit my theme song. I hope you like the theme song. I love it. I love it. I listen to it too much. I'm obsessed. But thanks for hanging out. Grace, peace.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, you'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble Alpha Red.